Rooted in resilience, inspired by nature, powered by movement. The podcasts where healing meets empowerment. Let's rise and thrive together. And now, here are your hosts, Scott and Melissa.
Hey, everybody. We just wanted to pop in and let you know about our Sedona Soul Retreat coming up in June of 2026, June 2nd through the 6th in Sedona, Arizona. Where we're going to have it at?
The Briar Patch.
It's
Beautiful. It's just this amazing little nugget.
Yeah.
In Sedona, where you think the big red rocks, which you'll see those, of course, but then there's this little sanctuary of green. And one of my dear beings that just shared with me this morning that they will be attending, looked it up and was like, "Oh, that's my place."
Yeah.
They just like felt the connection, and it's very spiritual energy there, and we're excited for holding space for all of us to be in that frequency, that vibration.
It's right on Oak Creek, and we were down there just a few weeks ago checking it out to ensure it was the right fit for our folks. And we are excited about this retreat. It's our second retreat, and we're on our way to selling out. So please check it out at Vital Edge Wellness Coaching Wellness Retreats. You'll see it vitalwellnesscoaching.com, wellness retreats, and sign up. Bring a friend. There's plenty of room. If you'd like double occupancy, you can come down, and we have private cottages and a lodge setting. So that's it.
It's exciting.
Enjoy the podcast.
Yeah, we'll see you there. All right.
Welcome to Rise and Thrive.
Yes.
A podcast by Vital Edge Wellness Coaching.
And Melissa, you're Scott. I was
Someone
supposed to do that.
I know. You were just in the middle of a big yawn, though, so I thought I'd bail you out.
I'm a little sleepy. Okay.
What are we doing today?
Well, we're going to talk about something that has evolved for both of us. And I think everybody's on their own personal journey to define what spirituality means.
Yeah.
And so we're not here to tell you what it is. We're here to share our experience.
I'm going to tell everybody what it is.
But we're hoping it inspires you to think about how you define it and what it means for you.
Yeah. And I'm sure that many of you do, and maybe you can go deeper.
Yeah.
So let's settle in for a mindful moment, though, before we kick off the topic today. I just want you to relax as per usual. Take a nice deep breath and settle in. Remember, the exhale is where the relaxation happens. You're letting go. So nice inhale. Fill those lungs fully all the way to the bottom. Letting it go fully. Deep. Inhale again. Hold it at the top. Take another sip. And release all that out to the very, very bottom. Nice. One more cleansing breath. We do these breaths in threes. Inhale. Sip. And exhale. And without focusing on your breath, let your body find its natural rhythm of breathing. We're just going to breathe. If thoughts coming into your mind, just breathe them out. It's a good opportunity to say thank you to your breath. And on your next exhale, you can come back into the space, maybe move your shoulders or your neck slightly. Just get your body back into the game a little bit. And when you're ready, you can flutter open those eyes and come back to Rise and Thrive Podcast.
Exciting.
How did I get here?
I know. I'm checking my mic.
It's there.
All right.
All right. So,
I don't know where to begin.
well, in our previous episodes, we talked about movement and our bodies
Exercise.
and our physical presence in the world, which we focus so much on. Our eyes, we tend to believe what we see, we believe what we hear, and the importance of movement in our everyday life, right? And then we talked about our connection to nature and the fact that we couldn't live without nature.
We are nature.
We are the source of nature, and how impactful that was for you and I, and some of those influences of how we really connect to nature in our way. And this is about how we connect, and that led us to discuss, what is behind all of it, and what is the meaning of life. And we're big fans of Michael Singer, and his philosophy and how we came to be really resonates with both of us. And so we thought it was worthy of a discussion today. And I'll start by asking Melissa, what was your first exposure through your familial ties as a young person, as a child, to God, creator, spirit?
Well, just as I was mentioning before we jumped on today, was the confusion that often is, and maybe this could be differently defined for people listening today. What I found, though, is that there was a confusion for me between spirituality and religion.
What age?
Goodness. It's hard for me to recall details of like my internal thoughts about it, because it was more so what showed up was following a procedure or a system that you just do this. So at a young age, it was, this is what you do. You behave this way, you dress this way, you're, yeah, I remember, well, yeah, I think that was it. I didn't really think much beyond that. This is just
Life.
And the deeper thinking started happening more probably 10 years, because for me, it was more like it was pressure to have to follow these things in my family unit. It wasn't because there was a deep connection to it. It was like, this is what you have to do because this is what we've always done. And we probably should do this because in case it's true, is kind of the method of. And so I got more and more questioning about it, because I think I exposed myself, and I don't know how. This is where I have kind of a lack of memory of when it started for me to think, I started to begin to define myself as like, I felt like a very spiritual person, but not religious. So a differentiation for that for me began to show up. And as I saw these religious, what I would say for myself through my lens, these religious behaviors or structures that didn't match with how I felt or how I wanted to be, or even how I saw others being, I would see lack of, the follow through, or like, what I want to say, the actions speak louder than words. And so there was a disconnect in my head early on of like, what is this? And so I think that was kind of my beginning path to try to figure out. And then it just got more and more separated for me between being religious and spiritual, because I felt deeper and deeper into a spiritual connection with myself, with my life, with, and when people say higher power, you get to define that however. And I found myself always being an observer and being more so open to not knowing. And so it really confused me when I would see particular components professing that they knew the truth, but others didn't. And so I was like, So I just always stayed open, as like, because I feel like ultimately something that I remember early on saying to myself is like, nobody knows truly. Even though we all try to hold on to something or create something to think we know, or this is what happens, and what I'm referring to is like, for example, when we die, nobody really knows.
Dead people know.
And so it's like, I was always just like, whenever I would go to something that was like a religious type structure, I'd be like, the pressure I was feeling and the kind of like, you should believe this and this is what you need to do to be saved or this or that. And I was like, deep down, does that individual ever question or really know? And so and again, I wasn't judging them. I just always kept that openness. And so I found myself for many years seeking. And so that's kind of my start. I can go deeper, but I want to see where yours started because mine just was kind of this very solo journey for me. I really kind of hung out quietly and just observed and kind of began my own spirituality from that. However you want to define spirituality.
That's up to you. Our family was not religious. I remember our mom encouraged us to go to church at a particular age. I don't remember exactly. I think we were probably 10, 11, 10 and 12 with my brother and I. And we went for a while, but it really wasn't for me. I still have my Bible from those days. And I never really got it at that age. And like I said, we didn't have a family that encouraged it or discouraged it. My mom said, basically, my dad and I didn't talk about it, but my mom basically said, I want you to be open to what works for you. And I want you to go and try this. And we did. But, my nature was kind of my church. And I learned so much about spirituality in the woods. And that led me to study ancestral beings, Native Americans, the Mongolians, Southern American shamans, and how they worshipped and what they brought them to oneness. And that was really important to me, is oneness. Where is the oneness in this religion? And I think I mentioned in previous episodes, I read about Judaism and I read about Hinduism, and Sufism was very interesting to me. I didn't practice any of those, but I read all of those. I think the Islamic religion has amazing qualities, but they were not, kind of to your point, so many of them were so process focused. Some of them have beautiful rituals and beautiful traditions, and I love traditions. And yet it didn't resonate. None of those resonated with me enough to profess that I am now this. I am now a Christian, or I am now a Buddhist. I believe there's a God. I believe there's a creator, and I believe there's a higher source. I don't know how you cannot, because I'm very interested in how all of this is happening and has happened. And so I am just really open, and I believe that we're not supposed to have all the answers.
Right.
And that's okay.
Well, that's what I was saying. I think that's why we're very similar in that is I feel that openness, like the release of judgments. And, because I would get told that, this and that. And I was like, you profess to be non-judgmental, but I would see so much judgment going on. And I had really, for me, when you say you believe in God, right? What I grew up with was that it was, God and Jesus were confusing, like which one was which.
Mm-hmm.
And also that God was some type of, man figure up in the clouds. And I was born with a little bit of like, I don't like that.
You're still like that.
I am.
You're
very
skeptic.
much.
Yeah.
But I didn't like that, and I, when groups got together and would like say, we're the right way. And I'm like, how were you decide if you were born and dropped in the middle of India? How does it make yours right over? So my brain was working young, trying to like navigate this and hearing what was being said and trying to decipher and always knowing there was this something bigger and realizing it was bigger than the human. As like you said at the beginning, we like to touch, see, and feel. So of course, we created something that we could touch, see, and feel. Man up in the clouds, a guy on a throne, or whatever, And so it's like, I went beyond that. I felt something calling bigger. Like, it's not what we can see, touch, and feel.
Yeah.
So, excuse me, I took on my throat.
There's some magic for me, there's magic about living in the mystery.
Yeah.
And I feel like man has created a lot of confusion when it comes to the major religions. And I love the golden thread that runs through all religions. If we can get back to that, if you read, I'm no scholar about it, right? But I've read enough to know that if you look at Judaism and how it attaches to Christianity and how Christianity, it's all the same.
We're all saying the same thing, but different.
But there's differences in how we say it, which creates conflict and war. And that's not the purpose of our episode. This is a wellness podcast. And so I feel like, and through my meditation and my walks in nature and just being present with the energies of and the gratitude around man, it is just amazing. As Michael Singer says, when you complain about the sun and he says, oh, it's so hot. You say it's so hot. And he says, oh, you mean that ball of flame up there that keeps everything alive and growing and gives us all of our food and allows us to exist and creates all the opportunity for the trees to produce oxygen. You mean that thing?
Yeah.
That's kind of how I view it, is what a wonderful opportunity we have to experience life fully. And after this is over, I don't know where I'm going to go, but I know I've had Christian friends in the past say that if I didn't believe that I was going to hell, and then I have other Christian friends who say, you're a better Christian than any of my Christian friends. And I think they're both right. I don't think I'm going to hell, but I think that there is an afterlife of some sort, but if you do good here, you'll do good there.
Right. Well, it's funny the way you're describing it. It's like I laugh inside because it's like, what was I going to say? Like, I've been through different scenarios and experiences of just like, you have to be this way in order to get this. Like, it's just the rules that, and I almost had a visual, like you were talking, I visualized, like, I felt like I was in this container that I just visualized kind of coming out of this container and releasing judgment, releasing that, wait, this doesn't feel right. It doesn't connect right. And, I hear people repeat certain phrases in certain ways that it sounds like you've just been told that.
Yeah.
And you're repeating it because there's a fear in you that if you don't believe, the fear of you that you're going to go to hell or this or that. So you got to believe in case, so you're going to try to do good. And I'm like, that seems so unsettling to me.
It's a lot of pressure at the very least. And we talk a lot about resetting your nervous system and regulation. And again, I have friends and family who are involved in a lot of different religions, Christianity, Judaism, Buddhism, and I get along with everybody.
Well, I'm completely supportive. That feels beneficial to them.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's where I feel like I'm just loving and accepting. And I'm requesting that same loving and acceptance back, that if I'm not this or that they don't have to pray for me and worry for me.
Yeah.
But in their mind, they may, because of what they're thinking and believing. And I just always remember inside, I'm like, how can you believe so strongly with this, like you said, the mystery? There's ultimately, at the end of the day, there is still the mystery for
only the Creator knows.
Each and all of us. Whether you want to call Creator, God, Spirit, Universe, Source, however it floats your boat. I want to, we all know there's something more.
Yeah.
Like just even watching a tree grow, a seed. It's like,
it's so
we take
cool.
it for granted, but it's like it's happening, right? Or giving birth to a child, watching, all of that. It's just in awe.
Well, and I've experimented in a lot of different ways to tap into the source, right? I love studying quantum physics.
Frequency.
I did an amazing ayahuasca ceremony years ago that was very enlightening for me and taught me a lot. I've worked with shamans and Native Americans, and
I think it just broadens your
yes. I just
horizon,
feel like
you're just more open because
it makes me more open, and I can take all of that in a moment in a meditation and feel so at peace because I'm tapping into what I consider to be source. And I use that to navigate challenges, and I use that to navigate my successes and appreciate my good things in my life. And I think that's ultimately what spirituality can do for you from a wellness perspective is it's a massive cornerstone that keeps you tethered to your journey, to help you with your fitness, to help you with your mental state, to help you with your purpose, to help you in navigating life.
That inner dialogue, inner experience. Yeah.
I can't imagine navigating life without that spiritual connection, which ties to the nature episode we talked about. Because for me, I'm an earth-based guy. We live on earth, and I'm close to the earth, and so that is part of my spiritual practice.
Well, and I know for some, right, they've connected spiritual with going to church and that connection and that community. And like I said, that is, as humans,
Super
we
important.
need community and connection. And I often see that's kind of the pull for people to, and, it's just like I shared with a couple people today. It was like a little rewiring, right? We always talk about rewiring nervous system, helping you, and it's like what you focus on, shift your algorithm. So the more you see, more you think, and the more you believe, and it gets more and more. And so we get into these structures that then we get, I'm kind of going off there because I think about just the rigidity that can come from that when you get kind of isolated in those different structures, and then the judgment comes of others.
Yeah.
And I guess that's what, just to be honest here, what hurts my heart is when people judge one another, when we're all just trying to do good.
Yeah.
I was continuing that visual of myself like coming out of this container and then almost wearing this cloak of just like releasing like all of these conditions and ways. Because you hear the words like from Jesus and to love one another. We're here to love, and it's like, so where's the judgment? That doesn't make sense to me when I see that. And, I've had people tell me, you're more Buddhist than I am. I had one person, I'm like, I don't even know that. I just have created my own spirituality. And that's part of my personality. I'm not a joiner typically, or, more of an observer. So I think about each of our own personal paths. You kind of create your own church, so to speak.
Some do.
Yeah. And,
well, it's
ever evolving process.
We're super supportive of whatever you use for your cornerstone. And when it comes to spiritual practice, we're not afraid to talk about it. And we want people to find what's best for them. And as long as you're not doing harm, I'm a do no harm person. Pick any religion you want. Pick any spiritual practice you want. Do no harm to yourself or to others. And then you can actually be open to the full experience of whatever practice you choose for yourself and for your life. So I hope this was helpful today. This is a huge topic. You'll hear this layered into subsequent podcasts coming up. Stay tuned and let us know what your thoughts are, what your comments are, and your experiences with your own spiritual practice. And don't forget to come visit us in Sedona, June 2nd through 6th for our next retreat. It's going to be a great time. We have a few spots left open, and we're going to have more conversations on this topic and many more, and we're just going to have a great time.
Yeah.
Yeah. See you next time on Rise and Thrive, and take care of you. Take care of each other, and don't forget to take care of yourself. See you next time.
Namaste.
Thanks for tuning in to Rise and Thrive, a podcast by Vital Age Wellness Coaching. If you found this episode meaningful, please rate, review, and share it with someone who might need it. For upcoming retreats and to join the Vital Edge Wellness community, head to vitaledgewellnesscoaching.com. Let's rise and thrive together.